Hey everyone, welcome to Tathastu. I hope you all are doing very good. Well, today we are going to talk about Urban Cooperative Banks. Why? Because RBI Governor has said something. He raised few concerns regarding Urban Cooperative Banks and he also suggested some measures for it. So we will discuss about this thing, the news, and specifically this topic, because there is a particular subtopic in your GS paper 3 which is called inclusive growth. And urban cooperative banks are a very good indicator and a very good way to reach that inclusive growth thing. Okay, so we'll discuss about that. But before this thing, there is a short information for you. There are 4 wonderful courses for you. One is MSLV Mains Success Launch Vehicle. Admissions are open for here, where you will be taught how to write beautiful and effective answers. Another is PSLV Prelims Success Launch Vehicle. Here the few tricks which are required to crack the UPSC prelims, which is required, and you will be taught this in this particular session. NCRT modules are there. You can register here now. And then there is a philosophy optional batch which will be started from 15th of September and which will be held by Tanu Jan ma'am herself. Okay. Now here's the address and the telephone number. If you want, you can call and visit. Now the news. Why is this in news? Here's the RBI Governor Shantikanta Das ji and the Governor of this RBI, Reserve Bank of India, recently spoke about the problems and the risk which are associated with these urban cooperative banks. Okay, and he emphasized the needs to address them. Why are we supposed to address them, or the authorities which are sitting there, they need to address them, specifically these banks? Why is there a need to address these concerns? So first of all, what are these urban cooperative banks? ये हैं क्या specifically? So let's start with the definition, the basic definition. So UCBs are primary cooperative banks, primarily situated in urban and semi-urban areas. Okay, so this is important information for your prelims perspective, so please be wary about this. Second is serving small borrowers and the businesses. Okay, so these are the 2 different parts of this particular definition, or these particular urban cooperative banks. Firstly, they'll be functioning in some urban and semi-urban areas, and they will fund these businesses, small borrowers and businesses. Okay, now how are these urban cooperative banks are regulated? So these are governed by Banking Regulation Act of 1949, Banking Laws Act of 1955, and State Cooperative Societies Act. So these are the 3 different acts through which these urban cooperative banks will be governed, will be regulated. Okay, let's talk about the evolution. So are these urban cooperative banks made for this purpose only? Initially it was made to cater the small businesses only, the non-agricultural lenders. These were made initially for non-agricultural lenders, but after 1996, or since 1996, the diversification has been done and now these are diversified. Okay, and now they are serving different sectors of the society, different businesses of the society, be it the farmers or the small businesses. Okay, now the concentration, so about 79%. Okay, so it's such a huge number, almost 80%. About 79% is located in Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka and Maharashtra. So these are the 4 states where these urban cooperative banks are situated. And this is also important information for your prelims perspective. So 79% of the urban cooperative banks are situated here, and the definition is always starting only. Okay, now if I ask you, because these are urban cooperative banks, okay, and they serve small businesses and small farmers, and they are situated in urban areas and semi-urban areas, so what would be that particular amount? Just I'm asking you to guess what is that amount which will be deposited in these particular banks. 100 crores, 200 crores, 1500 crores. Well, the amount goes up to 10,000 crores. Okay, that is why these UCBs are categorized into different tiers by the RBI based on their deposit size. So there are broadly 4 different tiers. So a deposit up to 100 crore, that would be considered in tier 1. A deposit in a bank ranging from 100 to 1000 crore, that would be considered a tier 2 bank. What is a tier 3 bank? So tier 3 bank is a deposit from 1000 crores to 10,000 crores, and then there is a tier 4 bank where the deposits exceeding 10,000 crores. Okay, so even there are urban cooperative banks where the deposits are exceeding these limits, these unimaginable limits of 10,000 crores, and still they are being called urban cooperative banks. Okay, so please be cautious about this particular information. If there's a question is been asked in the prelims examination that about these numbers, so don't be confused that these are urban cooperative banks to serve semi-urban areas, and then this number is exceeding 10,000 also. Okay, let's move on. What are the concerns? So we'll talk about the concerns and how to address it, and these are the concerns which have been raised by the RBI governor. So what are the concerns? Number one concern is operation stability. Okay, so with every bank, specifically in economic sector, and the whole of economy today runs on the bank. Okay, so the stability of a bank is very much important, and these banks work like they have a domino effect. Okay, that's why when we hear that there is a bank run in a particular bank, then there is a possibility that people get afraid, maybe my money is also in danger, and they run to bank and they want to withdraw their particular money. Okay, so that is why for the financial stability of the society, of the country, it is very much important to cater the stability of these particular banks, because these banks because the whole of economy is dependent on these particular banks only. Okay, so UCB needs to be financially and operationally strong to help keep the overall financial and banking sector stable. As I said, there is a domino effect. So to keep the overall banking system stable, you can't literally avoid or neglect these small banks also. Okay, so they need to be taken care of, their financial working and their operational scalability. Second is good governance. How this can be achieved? With the help of good governance, management and decision making is crucial to ensure that UCBs remain stable. Okay, कैसे stable रहेंगे? By setting the right priorities. Okay, so the UCB boards and the directors should focus on honesty and transparency in the financial sector, in the financial reporting, and they should avoid tricky accounting practices that hide the true financial statements. What are these tricky activities? So there's a report. I'm not saying that these reports are right or wrong, because this matter is still sub judice and this matter is still under investigation. SEBI is yet to submit its report to the Supreme Court of India. But there were two reports. One was Hindenburg report, another one was OCCRP report. So these were the two reports which have been given, which have been released against the Adani group, and take it as a particular example against the Adani group, or there are a few other companies also who do these kind of practices. Okay, I'm not saying Adani has done this, but there is a small example. Suppose there is a company which is listed in the stock market, so that particular company needs to release its 25% of the share, okay, 25% of the share to the other shareholders, and this they can keep the 75%. But if this company thinks that we are growing at a good pace, so despite the 75%, they want a stake in these 25% also, so they make few shell companies. Okay, so this is a shell company, and these shell companies take a stake in this 25%, suppose 13-14%. So if a company, according to SEBI, if a company is there which is doing these type of fraudulent practices, which are engaged in these type of fraudulent practices, then they could be delisted from the stock market. Okay, and this is the allegation which is on Adani group. And whenever there is an allegation, there was another company which was EKI Energy, so similar kind of allegations were labeled against them also. Okay, so by exceeding 75%, there is a risk that these companies get delisted and they are indulged in fraudulent practices. These were the allegations which were being labeled by Hindenburg and OCCRP report against the Adani group. So we don't actually know what is the reality, but I was just giving you a small example of tricky accounting practices. So these are the tricky accounting practices, and the companies should avoid this. Now, second is managing asset and liabilities carefully is important to handle the financial risk properly. Okay, this line is already self-explanatory. I'm not going to repeat it. UCB should build strong IT and cyber security systems and make sure their staff has needed skills. Now, in today's time, the time has gone when the things were being done on files and on on desks. Now there's a revolution. There's a industrial revolution 4.0, which is based on machine learning, which is based on artificial intelligence, which is based on data, which is based on blockchain. Okay, so the people who are managing these banks, or the people who are managing these things, they should be aware of at least the basic IT and basic cybersecurity things. Few days back we discussed about these trojans and these cybersecurity attacks which have been conducted, or which have been targeted for at least 75% of the Indian companies. Okay, so these particular companies, companies who belong to the banking sector, they need to be aware of these IT and cybersecurity frauds. Okay. Another point is governance practices related to following rules, managing risk, and checking internal progress need improvement. Okay, there is a improvement which is needed in the governance practices, and by making the directors and by making the management accountable, we can set the priorities right, and we can do the right thing related to these banking sectors, because as we discussed, there is a domino effect in these banking sectors. So the functioning of the board, what is the functioning of the board? Directors of UCB board should have the right skill and the right knowledge, and the board should be made up of professionals who know what they are doing. Now, by this line only, the board should be made up of professionals. It means that there is no scope of bhai bhatijawad. There is no scope of nepotism. Okay, a person based on merit should be considered and should be selected as a director of a particular company, and even if he has been selected, and there should be a particular time limit in which he should function. Okay, the next point is that diversity in board members and their length of service should be considered. It shouldn't be a case when a director has been appointed and he should serve there, although he has been called for serve, but after being there for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, a time will come when rather than serving, he will start ruling. Okay, so that is why there is a concept of cooling off period. That is why there is a concept of a particular length should be there to serve as a director, and in that particular board who are the director, there should be diversity. People should belong to different genders, be it male, female, and if the things improve, maybe transgenders, and from the different sectors of the society, be it finance, be it technology, be it some other sector. Okay, so there should be diversity in the board members. The board meeting should be open and encourage everyone to participate. Now, there could be a hierarchy when there are boards, there are CEOs, then there are regional managers, country managers, regional managers, then branch managers, and there could be this hierarchy, and it should be there for the better functioning and smooth functioning of a company. But when you are discussing a future of a particular company, when you are discussing a future of a particular bank, and banks are very much important as we discussed for the financial stability of a country, then the other people who are not the part of that particular closed door meeting, they should also be encouraged and they should also be allowed to participate and give their decisions and participate in that decision and give their views, they should be able to give their reviews. Okay, because the mind doesn't function in hierarchy, because a good idea will go only to a VP or only to a president, and it won't go to a manager or someone serving in the 4th grade or 3rd grade category. Okay, so there should be an encouragement for everyone to openly participate in the functioning, and committees at the board level should work effectively. Another thing is credit risk management. Now with the banks, this is the thing which is very much concerning. That is why there are few legendary investors who say that we do not want to invest in the banking sector. That is why the whole cryptocurrency and the whole Bitcoin thing has been pushed, because of because there are some inherent flaws with the banking system, because you never really know what is there, what you have deposited in the bank, what you deposit in the bank is still in there. Okay, so there is a credit risk management and it needs to be done effectively. UCB should focus carefully about who they give loans to and set strong standards for this. Okay, now how a bank functions. So this is a bank, and there are few people who want to take the loan, and then there are few people who deposit their money in the banks. Okay, so these people deposit their money in the banks, and by taking a good portion of a money with themselves, a bank give this particular money to other people at interest rate. They earn from these people, they keep their money principal amount there, and they give the money back to these people with some interest, and a margin is which is there between this transaction from the borrowers and the lenders is there with the banks. Okay, so this is how a bank functions. Now UCBs should be careful about who they give a loan to and set strong standards for this. After giving loans, they should keep a close eye on them and make sure everything is going well. Okay, there shouldn't be a case that there is a person who is artificially inflating the price of their shares, artificially inflating the price of the share market of that particular company, and then by showing the particular amount of those shares to the investors or to the people that our shares are worthy, our shares are valued so much, give us some loan, and then they take the loan. Eventually the fundamentals and the intrinsic value of that particular share, maybe it is zero. He takes the money and he goes to London. Okay, we know a few examples of this also. There are some Nirav Modis and there are some Vijay Mallya's. So people, specifically these banks, they need to keep a close eye on who are they giving these particular money to people, and they should also constantly check upon them. Okay, if there are problems with the loans, they should be recognized and fixed quickly, because I'll repeat for the third time, because these banks have a domino effect, and these banks are very much important for the stability and good functioning of a country. For borrowers who aren't paying back their loans, and which is called NPAs. So when you take a loan for company, for a bank who has given that loan, it was an asset, but when that particular loan, the principal and the interest which is not returned to the bank, then it is being called NPA, which is what is the definition of this NPA? I won't say this. So these NPAs and UCB should work on getting the money back and keep the enough money aside for this particular thing. So if these NPAs are there, if the banks who have given their money, by the way, these NPAs are called non-performing assets, when the banks give their money and they don't get the principal, let alone the interest, they don't even get the principal of it, then they become, these particular assets become non-performing assets. Okay, so UCB should work on getting the money back and keep the enough money aside if there is a critical situation arises, if there are few fraudsters, or if there is a mismanagement at the company level or at the banking level, then the banks, these cooperative banks and banks in general should be prepared for some extra cushion. Okay, so these were the concerns which were related to the urban cooperative banks which have been raised by the RBI governor. So the conclusion is that addressing the concerns and the vulnerabilities in urban cooperative bank is vital for the overall stability and the resilience of the banking sector. As I've said, the banks are very much interconnected to each other and psychologically very much connected to each other. If a bank fails, if a Yes Bank, as few years back, 6-7 years back, this Yes Bank failed. There was a bank, Yes Bank, and then there was a large amount of clamor in the streets of India, and because many small vendors and many middle class people have invested their money in Yes Bank, so government of India freezed the accounts for a particular time period, and then they connected it to one of the biggest banks of India, say SBI, and then the things were nice, and then the things started going smooth because SBI can fulfill any amount of the desired money for those particular people. So the overall stability and resilience of the banking sector is important, and the RBI's recommendation highlights the importance of governance, risk management, transparency, and ensuring a to ensure the health of a UCB urban cooperative bank, or to ensure that that particular UCB urban cooperative bank is healthy. So broadly, the governance, the transparency, and the management. Okay, so these were the things, these were the concerns which have been raised by the RBI governor, by the Reserve Bank of India, and there were few things why these urban cooperative banks are so important. Why we discussed it? Because it is a part, this could be related to a subtopic of your GS3, which is inclusive growth. and we discussed about the dynamics of these banking systems, how they work, and how are these fraudsters who do these frauds, what are these mismanagement practices which are there, which are prevalent in these banking sectors, in these financial sectors. We'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you.